Safety aspect also very important as you start to think what will be the material you are going to synthesize. First thing is PPE for, read to yourself, personal, okay, protective equipment. For example, when you handle chemical, well, gloves, naturally, right? Don't do this. Okay, I dip my finger into this and taste it. Don't do it. Common sense, right? Lab code, well, lab code, try not to use biocount, especially if you think there's some danger. If it does really dry powder, benign chemical like titanium dioxide, it's maybe okay that you leave this. But if you are handling acid, base, or sensitive stuff, well, lab code, makes sense. And the goggle, well, goggle. Quite often it's required to wear a goggle in a lab when you start to handle chemicals or you start to think, okay, something might come out. Splash, splinter, right? Well, protect your eye because you only have two eyeballs. No easy replacement. Beaker we can replace, this we can replace, but this one not so easily. Okay, proper shoe. Don't wear a sandal going into the lab because something may drop. Believe me, the second day I was working at DuPont, observing the lab, this piece of big steel fly from the bench, dropped right onto my toe. And of course, I was wearing a leather shoe, and luckily that leather shoe was pretty strong, so it protected my foot finger. Otherwise, I may quite often have two broken bones. It happens, believe me. The second day at DuPont, I was observing. It's not even my operation, and someone was handling something, slipped and boom. Within 1 second, it's landing on my shoe. And I was wearing a shoe. Luckily, that shoe was very hard on the top, very hard on the top, and it caused a big dent on that shoe. But my foot was okay. Make sense? Chemical spill. All these things happen. Don't wear this and go into the lab. You are be safe to yourself. Okay. And all these are the common stuff. Okay. And talk with your advisor, talk with lab manager, more experienced people when you think, okay, is this good enough for what I'm handling? Okay. Read to yourself. Most powder chemicals are hazardous. Most are hazardous, corrosive, caustic, poisonous, even, read to yourself, carcinogenic means, okay, it's going to cause cancer. It may not cause cancer today, but if you are not careful day in, day out, 5 years down the road, by the time you graduate, you essentially accumulate so much stuff in your body that maybe cancer is on the way 10 years. Not tomorrow. Make sense? Be very careful. And engineering control, this is actually more important, as PPE. You should not rely on PPE. Engineering control is as important. Okay? Warning signs. When you are doing stuff, dangerous stuff, warn other people I'm doing dangerous stuff. Okay? Chemical fume hood. Do a lot of, okay, if you expect, okay, there may be spill, there may be some stuff. Let me do it in the fume hood. There may be toxic gas released. Let me do it in the fume hood instead of on my table. Make sense? And then use minimum quantity as possible. Don't start with 1 kilogram. Use 1 gram, even half gram, something like that. Okay? Special risk, hard surface, proper insulation, like, we do heat treatment quite often. This is a exaggeration, but red hot, right? It does get like that if you are not insulating properly. And so, are you gonna put a lot of paper around it? No. Are you gonna put ethanol, those combustible solvent around it? No, right? For obvious reason, very obvious reason. Okay, hard surface, proper insulation. And then gas, when you handle gas cylinder, be very careful with gas cylinder, especially gases such as pure oxygen, pure hydrogen, saline. And believe it or not, we used to handle hydrogen sulfide, highly toxic gas. We still do. So be careful, very careful. Okay. Liquid. Consider the possibility of splash. Believe it or not, that's human nature. Yesterday, my daughter on the table just splashed water. The same thing can happen when you handle what? Chemicals in the lab. And when you spill water, it's just water at home. But even when you handle water, for example, you have sodium here, you splash water onto that sodium. Disaster, right? Or you have some other water sensitive stuff. Believe it or not, there are many chemicals. Even you spill water can be disastrous. So start to think, okay, what if I made a mistake here? What if I knock it down? Is that the end of the world? Prepare for it. Okay. Sometimes people use so-called secondary container, pressure vessel, extreme care. We have to talk about it. Barry.